Hi everyone, and welcome to this Nordic Business Forum webinar, Customers the Day After Tomorrow. My name is Salla Seppä and I will be the host of this webinar. Today we'll cover what you need to do today to facilitate the customer experience of tomorrow. But first, let's have a look at the agenda. In the first session today, we are going to hear from Phonecta CEO Patrick Salner. Patrick has built several global growth businesses in software and digital services. He focuses on using the latest technologies and M&A to transform businesses and to help customers. Secondly, we are going to hear from Stephen from Belleghem. Stephen is a global thought leader in the field of customer experience. His passion is spreading ideas about the future of customer experience, and he will cover many key insights today. Finally, we'll bring Patrick back into the studio to discuss the main takeaways from this webinar. So great content to look forward to. We'd like to get started with using Slido to get you also engaged. So in one word, what would you think is the most defining factor for the customer experience of tomorrow? So the most defining factor for the customer experience of tomorrow. Submit your responses and we'll revert to them in a moment. And we hope that in the end of today you will have learned how to leverage data to improve experiences. What are the latest new customer interfaces? And which strategies do companies need to fight the digital commodity magnet? Let's look if we have some responses here in Slido. Okay, so interesting. Personalization, knowledge, agility, fluency, caring, easy, trust, speed. Interesting points as the defining factors for the customer experience for tomorrow. Thank you so much for your responses. Yeah, more coming. Please do respond. Personalization probably as one of the key things for customer experience. And now soon we'll get started with Patrick Salner, CEO of Phonecta. Patrick is going to talk about democratizing digital marketing and AI for the benefit of SMBs. Phonecta is one of Finland's leading digital marketing providers, helping companies and people to find each other. With over 30,000 business customers and over a million consumers regularly using its services. Excited to hear more about this. Please welcome Patrick Salner.
Thank you, Salla. Yes, I'm excited here to be with you today to look at the same topics that we'll be covering today, but from the perspective of small and medium-sized businesses who sometimes look at the world in a slightly different perspective. So first I wanted to touch on the topic of sales. For any business, selling is essential and particularly sometimes difficult for entrepreneurs who are specialists in their own field but may not always be so comfortable reaching out to acquire new customers. And I think there's an interesting myth about Finns not being so good at selling. But if you actually ask Finns themselves which are the most respected professions in the country, you see surgeons and doctors and firemen, these sort of traditional, highly respected, I think also especially after these COVID times, even more so respected professions. Unfortunately, at the end of the list, you have a lot of different sales roles, which although essential for any business, are maybe not so highly respected as professions in Finland. And that's particularly challenging, as said, for small and medium-sized companies who do need to grow their businesses. So traditionally, Finns have relied on having good products or good really competence and services and using word of mouth and reputation to sell their businesses, to drive new sales. That's, goes as far as it can, but I think the opportunity that's happening right now is that we see the boundary between sales and marketing is fading as we move businesses online. And that's a particular opportunity for small and medium-sized businesses, because you could say that digital content marketing is something that most specialists are inherently good at doing. Basically, it's about talking about the benefits of your services, of your competence, about the products, and using online tools as a means of then driving demand for your business. So what small businesses are interested in is customer acquisition. They're not so interested in marketing as a profession or in sales, but customer acquisition is essential to growth. And digital content marketing can essentially provide a very effective way online of driving inbound demand. The next challenge, of course, is that most entrepreneurs are not very proficient with digital marketing and the related metrics of, exactly how do you get the benefit for the investment you're putting into it. And it's not only a challenge for entrepreneurs or for small business owners. The world of digital marketing is getting all the time more and more complex. So you have the ecosystems that have formed around Google and the alphabet companies, similarly around Facebook and Meta, moving into the metaverse. How can an entrepreneur understand exactly what's going on? And more now business is done in Amazon, which was not considered really an advertising media, but today is becoming an essential environment for anybody selling products. So each of these platforms is driving amazing innovation in providing tools and capabilities for their customers. But the challenge is that as a business, do you choose to work only in one of these? Or do you actually need to reach out across customers that are interacting in each of these three domains or even in other platforms beyond? So that's one of the challenges. The sheer pace of technical innovation is quite baffling, not only for an entrepreneur, but even for digital marketing specialists. In addition to that, we have, of course, regional changes in legislation, privacy, compliancy, which you need to comply with, or else you actually risk breaching the law and having to pay penalties for that. So that's why businesses, small and large, actually are reaching out to partners to find the help they need in navigating this landscape. So when you look at what are the challenges that digital marketeers face, firstly, this question of user privacy is becoming ever more important. And of course, you want to be respectful for your users. By doing that, you sometimes lose some of the understanding of exactly how they're interacting with you online. That's a compromise you need to make. But equally, another important thing is to be able to measure the impact of the marketing you're doing. And that, of course, is easier online than it is in the physical world or in printed media. The third topic really is around finding that expertise. As a small business, it's quite difficult to attract the best digital marketing expertise. It's a similar challenge as you face with software developers. There's a scarce resource, and people that actually are deep experts in digital marketing prefer to work in environments which they consider challenging for themselves. So that's why you need to find the right partners to be able to help you address these challenges. And especially in small and medium-sized businesses, an entrepreneur really has the time to invest a lot in learning these topics or in managing things for themselves. So that's where another interesting development that's very timely in today's webinar is artificial intelligence steps in. And of course, artificial intelligence has been already used by Google and Facebook and Amazon for years. They're super expert at doing that and benefiting from it, as you can see from their financial results. But interestingly, there's a whole change happening with artificial intelligence where it's a resource that's available for anybody to use. And it can, I believe it will fundamentally revolutionize digital marketing, but more importantly, the revolution will be more significant at the low end of the market with small businesses, because for them, the capabilities that they get access to have not even been available for them at all before. Most digital marketing agencies and advertising agencies focus on working with large corporates because that's where you get the big ticket deals. That's where you make the big business and the big money. When you're a small business, it's actually very difficult to buy good services from and this expertise online. So with artificial intelligence, actually, it's now possible to produce content, to produce pictures, text, video, to do automatic processing of digital marketing even across these different media platforms. And all of this at a very budget affordable pricing because a lot of this is open source. And just to give you a feel for what open source AI can look like, just some examples. So I went on to a service called openai.com and wrote in, I wanted to have basically a statue of a tired remote worker in the style of Rodin. Auguste Rodin is a very famous sculptor who made this very famous sculpture called The Thinker. So here is an AI adaptation of that statue with a remote worker having basically a tablet in their hand, working and looking fairly tired. This was all just a few seconds of work by AI to produce something which is quite an interesting take on that angle. Equally, a business could actually use this to generate content or generate cartoons, whatever style best addresses the tone of voice that you want to use with your customers. So here's another cartoon, 4 different examples for an electrician that installs air conditioners. So you could imagine all kinds of different use cases, and this is just with pictures. These produce text in all different languages. You can produce video, you can produce audio. So it's amazing the sort of resources that are available pretty much for free. Copyrights are also being resolved in these media right now because this is unique content that's been generated by a computer. So you can actually buy the rights for that as well. So sometimes when you look at these topics, the question is, what do we as large companies, what can we do to help some of our partners? Whether we have customers that are SMBs or whether we have vendors or suppliers who are small businesses, then we'd like to make sure that we can interact with them most effectively. I think it's important for us to recognize that while these capabilities are becoming available, not all small businesses have the competence to understand it yet. So I think it's important for us all to work together with these businesses to share the insights that we have, the perspectives, perhaps provide open APIs so that your small business partners can interact with you easily in a digital format and that way promote the business. And by doing so, I believe that you can get a competitive advantage not only for the small and medium-sized businesses, but for your own business as well. And maybe as a result of all of this, it can become a source of competitiveness for the Finnish economy at large. So just concluding with what Phonecta does. We work with tens of thousands of businesses, small and large. A few years ago, we partnered with a company called Oikio. Oikio is one of the leading Finnish digital performance marketing agencies. So they're specialized in working with the most demanding digital marketing customers, the largest brands, in optimizing and analytics to really get the digital marketing to be as good as possible. And we're now taking that expertise and applying some of those capabilities in a productized way that can be accessible to all small and medium-sized businesses as well. Making sure we can democratize the capabilities that digital marketing offering for all companies, whether they're good at selling or not. And we see a lot of exciting opportunities for doing so. So if you'd like to learn more, whether you're a large company or a small one, please feel free to reach out to us to learn more. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Patrick. And now we are going to move on to the session with Stephen van Belleghem. Stephen believes in the combination of common sense, new technologies, an empathetic human touch, playing the long-term game and taking your responsibility to win the hearts and business of customers over and over again. Over to you, Stephen.
Thank you for that kind introduction, and good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining in this webinar about customers the day after tomorrow. If we want to be ready for customers the day after tomorrow, I think it's important to understand the changes that are happening today in customer behavior. There are a number of things that are influencing the way that we market our products. And the first one is related to the fact that opinions of consumers are becoming more and more extreme. I mean, if you look to the past, the biggest group of people were always the one that had nuance. I mean, if you look to what happened in the last couple of years and how fake news has influenced society and really important parts of our society, then it's clear that today in the world, the nuance is gone and we have more extremes than ever before. And of course, social media are not really helping. I'm a big fan of social media. I'm active on all of them. But reality is that they are destroying a lot of the trust in communication. By the way, I found this video that illustrates for me what Twitter is all about right now. You have these brave people that are very bold and say all these nasty things when they're hiding behind their keyboard. And the second that they see each other, they run off. This is Twitter anno 2022, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if Elon Musk can change that. But we all know that, social media have become weapons of mass influence, and that has a big impact on consumer behavior. The second thing that we see is that more and more consumers are concerned about changes in society. I mean, we're still fighting racism and discrimination. We're in the biggest geopolitical crisis of our generation, and the climate crisis is becoming more and more urgent, and we're still in the biggest healthcare crisis of our generation. So there's a lot of things happening, And as a consequence, the market expects you to become part of the solution. And I even think it's going to be more extreme than this. I think that pretty soon, if you're not part of the solution, that you're going to be seen as part of the problem. I think the whole concept of neutrality, the Switzerland in the business world, that will disappear. And as a consequence, I think a lot of organizations need to think about their own influence zone. I mean, in the past, companies were really focused on their own organization. What can we do in our products and our market that grew towards the industry? Today, companies are really concerned about the world. But in the past, we just acted in our own company. We tried to influence the industry, and we were just monitoring what was happening in the world. Today, this is completely different. Organizations understand that they need to act on all of these levels. It's not just about your company anymore. The market expects you to act upon world problems as well. And we've never seen this more clear than, with the whole Russia-Ukraine war. I mean, the economy has become a weapon. We're weaponizing our brands and are acting upon that. Companies don't just sit back anymore. They try to do well and use their strength to make a difference. That's number two. A big one is the openness of the new consumer towards new technology. COVID was, of course, a time machine in terms of digital adoption, but we're also at the beginning of a new phase of the internet, the whole Web3 evolution. I assume by now most of you know what a NFT is all about, a non-fungible token that allows you to buy digital assets. You can own a digital painting. And in the past 2 years, we've seen an explosion, a real hype about digital collectibles. People collect jackets from Coca-Cola, they collect digital cars. So there's a lot of things happening. And in the beginning, everyone, as always, thought this is the way to become extremely rich, extremely fast. Now, 2 years later, most of us know that 99% of these NFT projects are a big failure, and most of us, we lost our money. It's not that pot of gold at the end of the line. And most people that don't follow it, they think this is the symbol of the craziness of the whole NFT and Web3 space, the bored apes. For a lot of people, a bored ape is like the status symbol in the world right now. And I had the pleasure to visit Christie's in London a couple of months ago. And Christie's is actually the place where things were kicking off. It's where Beeple's first 5,000 days of the internet were auctioned, and it's where a lot of the bored apes are being auctioned. And I just want to give you a little bit of insight, just as a side story, to make sure that if you would be willing to buy a bored ape, that you buy the right one. Now, listen very carefully. This is a lesson in bored ape investments. Do you know why this bored ape is valued at a higher price than this one? The difference is very, very clear. This one has lasers coming from his eyes, and it's smoking a joint. Now, if you ever want to buy a bored ape, make sure that it has lasers and a joint, because those are the most valuable ones. So now that you're trained, you know that this one, we will never buy it. This one is a good one, just as some side information. But, a lot of people think that it's crazy, but there's more behind the scenes. There's more to it, because maybe the value is not just the collectible or the piece of art, but maybe the value is the smart contract, the piece of code that is linked to it. Like when you buy a bored ape, you don't just buy the bored ape. You also get the IP to work with the bored ape, which means that a lot of people who own a bored ape, they start to create merchandise. They create a hamburger chain with their brand. Some make deals with big brands to make sure that they make money that way. So there's more to it than just the GBAC, the contract and the value that you get out of that. This is where the real value is for a lot of NFTs. And this is where it could become interesting for customers. What if you use this philosophy, not just to, let's say, buy something and hope that you will become rich, but what if you use this technology to make customers more loyal and connect them more to you? What if you change business models? And let me show you a very concrete example. Imagine that you are a talented singer-songwriter and you try to get a record deal, but you fail. They all say, well, you're good, but not good enough. Well, in the old days, it was game over, right? Today, most of the talented singer-songwriters, they have a following on TikTok or on YouTube or on Instagram. And then they can work with that. they can sell their music as an NFT, where as an NFT owner, you get the rights to play and listen to the music, but what if you also add a percentage of the revenue? And this could change the game, because in the old world, if you would have your record deal, this is how it works. The majority of the money is going to the record company, and if you're lucky, 15% is going to the artist, which is a rip-off in today's world, because artists do their own marketing through their own social media. But this is the old world. What if, as a new singer-songwriter, you decide to launch your music as an NFT? What you could do then is include in the smart contract that 90% of the revenues go back to you, the artist, the creator, and 10% goes back to your early fans. Imagine that you owned the NFT of the unknown Ed Sheeran, and you today get 10% of the revenues of Ed Sheeran's music. Imagine that. It makes you not just a fan. It makes that you have shared interest. If the new talented singer-songwriter becomes successful, you become successful. And that makes you more than a customer, it makes you more than a fan. You will become an ambassador because you're part of it. And this ownership, that you can become an owner of who you're a fan of, this will create completely new customer relationships. NFTs are closer to shareholdership than to loyalty cards, in my opinion. And another interesting technology that consumers are diving into is, of course, the whole metaverse discussion, which became a real hype when Mark changed the name of his company from Facebook to Meta. At that moment, a lot of companies started to look into it. I've been studying the metaverse now for a while, and you know what I find most funny of all? I remember when I was a child, when I was watching TV and I was like close to the screen, my mom always said, "Don't go too close to the screen. It's bad for your eyes." And today, this is what we give to our children. So evolution is what they call it. But the metaverse is an interesting discussion. I'm not going to go into the fact that how Facebook is performing and all those kind of things. I always look at things from a customer point of view. And what is happening here with the metaverse is that we're evolving from effortless interfaces to enhanced interfaces. In the past 10 years, I was talking all the time about efficiency, convenience, how convenience is the new loyalty. Well, that is still the case, but convenience has become a commodity. Today, we have this evolution from effortless to enhanced. And you already see things. It's not just day after tomorrow stuff. There's already a lot happening today. Like Warby Parker allows you to wear your glasses before you buy them. Or if you want to buy a new watch, you can try it on your arm through your mobile. Or if you buy new shoes, hey, you can try them on before you buy them. And this is not just a gimmick, by the way. Companies that use augmented reality, a metaverse solution, they see a drop in return rates if you have AR. So this is an interesting path to create a new experience for customers. One of the companies that is really diving into that is my favorite brand, Disney. They're getting a lot of patents, especially for the theme parks, because, I mean, look at the queues in theme parks. I love going to Disneyland, but I don't like to wait in line. It's boring. Even if they play the It's a Small World song, it's still boring. After a while, annoying, even if I'm a Disney fan. But what if you could create a metaverse world in those queues, in those waiting lines? What if you create virtual games? Today, if you go to Disney World, you get a magic band around your arm. What in 10 years from now, you get magic glasses that create this amazing enhanced world out there? This could become something truly unique. Disney is now trying that out with their movies in people's living rooms. So when you're watching a film, that it's like the water and the characters are just joining you in the living room. So you see how this is creating new opportunities, and at the same time, it's creating new business models. Like, think about events. A big thing in the metaverse are virtual events. Like last summer, Coldplay came to Belgium. I was lucky enough to get tickets. You had to be very well organized to get tickets from Coldplay. But if you think about it, they were, when they came to Belgium, they had 4 shows, so about 200,000 people saw the show live, and it was a truly unique and amazing experience. It's the best possible thing you can have. Nothing beats a live concert. But probably about 500,000 people wanted to buy one and didn't get one. Today, their alternative is just a 2-dimensional experience on TV or YouTube, which is okay, it's fun, but nothing compared to being there. What if you create a metaverse experience in between, where you're like part of the concert, together with your friends? It's the same thing, it's not a pre-recorded video, but you're part of the metaverse. This could become the second best experience. It's a new customer experience. You add value to the customer. At the same time, this is a new revenue stream. Tickets for the live concert of Coldplay were like 50 or 60 euros. What if you ask 10 or 20 for the metaverse version? Could create an additional revenue. And it's not far off. I mean, this is happening today. I mean, Fortnite is not just a gaming platform, it's a new virtual world where events are taking place. And it's like bigger and bigger and bigger. Like a couple of years ago, they already had an event where 15 million people were joining live at the same time. I mean, 15 million people at one concert venue, that is like 3,000 full stadiums of 50,000 people. So you see the opportunity. And you know, today I say it's the second best experience. Maybe 20 years from now, the metaverse experience will be better than the live one. I don't know. But I think it's important, if we talk about the day after tomorrow, to follow up on how fast consumers are, into new technologies. Last thing that is important for our customer experience, of course, is to have a great team of people that makes it happen. We can say whatever we want as leaders, but if it's not happening on the floor, then it's an issue. And this is one of the biggest issues today, that a lot of people are not motivated anymore to work for your organizations. And it's not just the great resignation or quiet quitting. It's like Gary Vaynerchuk says, it's also the never applying in the first place generation. A lot of young people have no interest in working for large corporations and doing the traditional career path. And what we see is that, during COVID, a lot of organizations had to fire people. And now they cannot find enough people to get the business going again. And it creates a disaster in terms of customer experience. And you can be cynical about that, but the truth is that young people have more options than they ever had before. They don't have to work for a bank and wait 10 years before they have something to say. They have their social media, they have crypto, they have NFTs. They can become influencers to make a decent living. Like, this is in Dutch, but this is a Belgian guy here. He makes some music in his room. He wrote down music to make sure that people would fall asleep because he had issues with falling asleep. So he made his own music to help himself to fall asleep. He placed it on Spotify and he makes a few €1,000s a month now because he is the most successful Belgian artist on Spotify because people listen to his music. And for him, he's just making some money, a few €1,000s in the month, but that's good money. And he's happy with that. And the rest of his time, he does other stuff that he likes. So people have more options than ever before. It's not that they don't want to work. They just have other options, which is a challenge for large organizations to keep their customer experience up high. So 4 changes, 4 important evolutions in customer behavior that we need to take into account when we think about the day after tomorrow. And you feel that we're like at the end of a cycle. We're moving into a new era. The only thing is that, especially when we talk about technology, that for many people, they always think that technology is the solution. It's like a religion, or it's a shortcut that we think, we're going to buy this technology, then our customer experience will go up. It's not as simple as that. There are too many solutions that are looking for a problem, if you know what I mean. First, we need a problem in the market, and then we find the solution. But now today, a lot of people are so into technology that they look for a solution, and they have the solution, and it's looking for a problem. In my opinion, technology is not the holy grail here. I think we need to look at customers. And the guiding star is not the technology. The guiding star are our customers. And of course, technology can help. In the day after tomorrow, technology will be crucial. But not for the sake of technology, but to create these customer benefits here. How can we use technology to create faster than real-time customer service? How can we use technology to increase personalization to another level? And how can we use technology to make it more convenient than ever before? These are the benefits that we're going to experience as a customer in the day after tomorrow. And I think this is a perfect moment in time to not just focus on your today, not just on your tomorrow, but also on your day after tomorrow. Dare to dream about the best possible customer experience, and then you work your way back. Don't start with today to build your tomorrow, but start with the day after tomorrow, reverse engineer it, and then start building it. Now, if you ask me, okay, Stephen, how do we need to start with this? There are a number of investment axes that I find truly interesting to look into. It's about leveraging data, it's about effortless interfaces, and it's about intelligence augmented. I think these 3 will help you to create a fantastic customer experience the day after tomorrow. And I'm going to walk you through all 3. Let's look at data. If we use data in a smart way, we will use it to improve our services. You have a great product, you attract users, they generate data, and that helps you to improve your service over and over again. This is what I call data leverage. Look at the world of healthcare, for instance. We are like the last generation of people with so limited information about our own bodies. This will change dramatically. Just before the pandemic, I had the pleasure to visit this company, iCarbonX. It's based in China, and it's one of the hottest health startups that they have over there. I had the pleasure to meet the founder of this company. It's the guy with the blue shoes here. And their philosophy is very simple. They say, like, when you're in between 25 and 50, maybe 55, you do a lot of bad things with your body. I mean, you eat the wrong things, you don't sleep enough, you smoke, you drink too much, you don't work out. I mean, you do a lot of bad things, but you don't feel the negative impact of that. And because of that, all of us think, oh, I'm okay, I can handle this. And then you become 67 and you retire, and then bam, you have this drop in quality of life, and you cannot enjoy your retirement anymore. What they want to do at iCarbonX is just keep that at a certain level. Keep that quality of life as high as possible, as long as possible. And what they do is they look at data. So if you work with them, of course, you're going to have a smart bracelet. They're going to look into your blood. But they also install a lot of smart tools in your house, like a smart scale, a smart fridge, even, and I know this will sound strange, but they also install a smart toilet in your house. So every time when you go to the toilet, 5 minutes later, you get an email with the research results. So it's that far that they want to go, but with one goal, to keep you healthy. And don't wait until you get sick to solve the problem, but keep you healthy proactively. And if you think about this, if you think this true, probably thanks to data that is generated in our house will be like our healthcare coach. The moment that everything is connected, then our house knows everything about us. So our house will be able to reach out to us proactively to tell us that something is going bad or if we're doing a good job. And this has pros and cons. I can get excited about it. I can also get scared about it, especially when I see this, like this vending machine in the US. If you want to get like a Snickers bar in the morning because you're hungry, then that machine can say, no, this is not a good idea, Stephen. First your 10,000 steps and then you come back. Data leverage. It has its pros and its cons. But I strongly believe that we're going to see this massive change in data in the day after tomorrow. Today, it's very simple. Our data is owned by large corporations, especially big technology companies or our bank. They know a lot about us. What if this changes? What if this changes in the next couple of years? Today, reality is this, that if you look at the value that data creates for a customer or for a company, the value is higher for the company than for the customer. Facebook gets more out of my data than I get out of my data. What if this changes? And what if data ownership and power switches back to the customer? And there are a lot of interesting things happening. So, like, you have this initiative of MIT, it's called Solid. It's created by Tim Berners-Lee, the inventor of the World Wide Web. And he believes that we as a customer, as an individual, as a citizen, we should be able to put our data in vaults, like data vaults. And then we have the power to decide who has access or no access to those vaults. Which means that in a very simple interface, you could say, okay, my bank, they give me a lot of value. I give them access to my data. But my supermarket, I mean, these guys just spam me over and over again. Access denied. This will come sooner than later. Question is, how do you anticipate to this as an organization today? How do you get ready for that day after tomorrow? By making sure that if you get the data from a customer, that the value for them is higher than it is today. We will have to make sure that we earn and re-earn the trust of our customers to have access to data. Especially in the whole Web3 evolution, the moment that we have that wallet, when we have our digital vault, at that moment it will become really difficult for organizations to have access to that data. And some people ask me, yeah, Stephen, what is that wallet? What is it about? Well, a digital wallet is where you keep your crypto, you keep your digital assets, and you keep your data. And sometimes it reminds me to the movie Fantastic Beasts. I don't know if you've seen it, but the main character is always walking around with a little suitcase, and there's all kind of stuff in that suitcase. It's like his little treasury chest. Well, this is what our digital wallet will be like. And the moment that we have that, that's the moment that it will become difficult for companies to have access to that data. And it's not that far off. I mean, if you look at what Apple is doing in terms of privacy, since they launched their new iOS, we all get this question when we install a new app. Do you allow them to track you? Now, what do you answer to this question? Is there anyone who says allow in the room? Probably not, because 95% of the people says nope, no tracking. Consequence, Facebook business model gets attacked and they lose a lot of value just in one day. That happens more and more with Facebook lately. But we will have to focus today on making sure that customers trust us so that we get access to their data. That's what we need to do today to get ready for the day after tomorrow. And now we have effortless interfaces. There are a lot of new user interfaces out there. Some will be world-changing, some will be life-critical, like this one is life-critical. I mean, if you go to a hairdresser and they don't give you a little jacket like this, they don't respect your Instagram time, so get out of there. If you have a dog, this is an interface you could use. And just as a small in-between tip, never let the children play with the dog and the drone, or you will never see the dog again. That as a small in-between tip. But when you look at new user interfaces and you want to think about what does it mean for our day after tomorrow, always think about this. How can we use something new for our business? And maybe, for instance, it's time to TikTokize your own interfaces. I don't know if you guys use TikTok, but the truth is we're creating a TikTok generation. Most 40-plus people that I know are not on TikTok. Most 40-plus people are still in the Google frame and world. We are the Google generation. So if we look for something, we get an endless list that we have to go through and find out the right things. Or if you want to buy a house, I mean, you get an endless list of houses. And the worst of all, Netflix. I mean, I don't know if you have the same problem as me, but I am suffering from what they call the Netflix syndrome. And it's linked to their interface. We always see Netflix as an innovative company, but I mean, look at this interface. It's been the same for years. And it's an endless library of list after list after list. And the Netflix syndrome, I don't know if you're suffering from it as well. Netflix syndrome is that feeling that when you're at the end of a show that you like, and you don't know what the next one will be. The black hole is waiting for you. And the Netflix syndrome is that it takes on average 40 minutes to find a new show that you like. There's an overflow of content, but it seems very difficult for us to find what we want. Now compare this with TikTok. If you haven't tried TikTok, install it tonight and play with it for at least 20 minutes. That's your assignment. Then you will see that the interface is fast and easy and fun, but you will also see that the algorithm is so smart. In just a few minutes time, just in 15 minutes, it will get to know you better than any other algorithm you've ever seen. And that is why it's so addictive. That is why it's so addictive. And the question is, shouldn't we TikTokize the interface for hotel bookings? Shouldn't we TikTokize the interface for looking for a home? Shouldn't Netflix TikTokize the way that we look for new content? This is how you have to look at new interfaces. Don't just look at them, ask themselves, what does it mean for my business? That's how you get ready for that day after tomorrow. And then the last one is what I call intelligence augmented. Artificial intelligence is going to be crucial in customer service, but I don't believe it will replace humans. I think artificial intelligence will augment users. It's from artificial intelligence to intelligence augmented. How can we use the technology to make our teams more productive, more efficient, and more personalized? And there's this one example of a company that I really like. It's a company called Digital Genius. It's based in San Francisco. And what they do is they look at your customer service data from the past. So they come in, look at the data, and they translate it into algebra. Then a question from a customer comes in. Like in this case, can you rebook my flight? Then this question gets translated into algebra as well. And then the computer does the matchmaking. They look for answers from the past that they can use to reply to this question. And the computer makes a suggestion, but doesn't send it to the customer yet. It's not a chatbot. It gives this to the service agents behind the scenes, and they can look into the answer. They can take the entire answer. They can copy-paste it, use parts of it, but they can also personalize it, give it its own flavor. Like this is KLM using it, the Dutch airline, and because of this, KLM can answer more questions per hour than most other European airlines. in a more personalized way. So they didn't replace their humans with technology, they made sure that their teams perform in a better way. And other companies think, oh, how can they do this at KLM? They're so successful, this is amazing. Do they have more people? What's going on? They don't have more people, they just use technology to augment the intelligence of their teams. That is the investment track number 3. And there you go. Then you have 3 investment tracks to look into when you want to get ready for that day after tomorrow. It's about leveraging the data. It's about making interfaces up to date and completely effortless and personalized. And it's about using technology to boost the power of your teams. This is how you get ready for customers the day after tomorrow. And this is my invitation to you. This is the best possible moment ever to look at your company with the day after tomorrow glasses on. And ask yourself, how can we create these new customer benefits for our customers? How can we become faster than real time? How can we become more hyper-personalized? And how can we become more convenient than ever before? And dare to dream about what could be the best possible customer experience. You reverse engineer it back and you create the best possible customer service and you become ready for the day after tomorrow. This is what I had for you this morning in this session. I hope it brought value to you. If you like my work, you're always welcome to check me out on Instagram or YouTube or LinkedIn or TikTok. Share a lot of content there. You're more than welcome to join. I hope this was a great start of your day. This was it for me. I'm going to give the word back to the guys in the studio. Thanks for being here, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Stephen. That was truly fascinating. And now let's have a chat with Patrick to summarize what we just learned. So, Patrick, what do you see as the key thing you took away from Stephen's presentation?
Personally, I have to go on TikTok tonight and try it out because I have to admit I'm one of those who's living in the Google, Facebook world still. So, on a personal level, I think from another perspective, for us as individuals, we can always opt out, right? I mean, these wonderful things, we may not want to do it. What was maybe reassuring is that we've been benefiting from all these amazing free services because they're advertising sponsored, and we take it for granted. And somehow, I think all of us are getting a bit scared about the data that's out there. And are companies getting more value for the data than we are? We get a lot of data value, but they get even more. But it seems like maybe this privacy issue is being solved, and that we can actually start controlling that. So that's reassuring. Somehow, I have to say, it's maybe less reassuring for some companies because they can't opt out. If you as a company opt out of this, you're not going to be as successful as your competitors. So that to me puts some pressure on companies, and especially the ones that may not even be aware of. I mean, we have the benefit of hearing these presentations, so it's pretty exciting to be able to sort of think about what we can do. But how can we work together to try to get that benefit as well, so all of it doesn't flow to Google and Meta and so forth. So that's maybe the one thing I'm wondering about from this presentation.
Yeah, fantastic summary and very easy to agree on that. So then how do you see Stephen's input compared to, for example, what you at Phonecta have found?
We're obviously not dealing with all of these technologies. The great thing is getting new ideas here, but somehow feeling that our responsibility is to help the smaller businesses get some of this value, and making sure that we stay enough up to date so we can see what's relevant, try it out, work with some other larger companies who are already at the cutting edge, and then see which of these can we flow down to sort of smaller business. That's maybe where we want to help out.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Patrick.
I have a question for you, Salla.
Yes.
When is Nordic Business Forum going to organize metaverse events? Because I like that idea. It's the second best thing when you can't go to the event yourself.
Yeah, it is true. We are on it. so thanks for the question.
I look forward to the invitation to that one.
No, it's absolutely true that we just need to understand where the world is going, and keeping up to date with that is key to all of us. So Thank you, Patrick, so much once more.
Thank you.
So that concludes today's session. And I would love you to fill out the Slido rating for this webinar. So it would be great to hear how you found this webinar. So we really highly appreciate it. And thank you once more indeed, Stephen van Belleghem for joining us, and Patrick as well. And of course, I really want to thank all of you as well for being on the line. So make sure to follow our channels for any updates on our upcoming activities, and take care.
taking risk now, it's a recipe for disaster.
Welcome to the Nordic Business Forum.
Every individual is different.